stop scrolling. In the next 90 seconds, I'm going to prove that everything you believe about suffering is a lie. And once you see this, you can never go back to being the same person again. Right now, as you watch this, 97% of your thoughts are exact repeats from yesterday. Your brain is running the same mental programs that created every moment of pain you've ever felt. But here's what no one told you. You are not the victim of your thoughts. You are their unconscious programmer. That anxiety attack last week, you coded it. That sleepless night replaying old conversations, you designed it. That crushing feeling when someone criticized you, you built the entire system. But before you close this video thinking I'm blaming you, here's the plot twist that will shatter everything. This unconscious programming is also your superpower. Carl Jung discovered something that neuroscientists are only now proving. 95% of your behavior comes from subconscious patterns formed before age 7. You've been living your entire adult life running software written by a child who didn't know any better. But what if I told you that in the next 20 minutes, you could learn to rewrite that code completely? What if the same mind that created your prison could become the architect of your unbreakable freedom? Here's my warning. Billionaires pay $50,000 for this knowledge. Monks spend decades in caves discovering it. But I'm about to give it to you for free. The only price. Once you understand this, your old excuses die forever. Are you ready to meet the real architect of your suffering? Here's a fact that will disturb you. You've spent 99.7% of your life trying to control the wrong thing. You wake up each morning attempting to control your job, your relationships, other people's opinions, the weather, traffic, social media comments. Basically everything except the one thing you actually have power over. Plot twist. You're not supposed to control your external world. You are supposed to control your internal response to it. But nobody taught you this. Instead, they sold you the greatest lie in human history. If you can just get everything outside to line up perfectly, then you'll be happy. This is why 70% of people report feeling anxious daily. This is why antidepressant use has increased 400% in the last 20 years. This is why you can have everything you thought you wanted and still feel empty inside. You're playing a rigged game. You're trying to find peace by controlling an infinite number of variables that change every second. It's like trying to calm the ocean by moving each wave individually. But here's what ancient philosophers knew and modern neuroscience confirms. The same experience that destroys one person can make another person stronger. Not because the experience is different. Because their internal software is different. Mind-bending example. 2 people get fired on the same day. Person A has a breakdown. Person B starts the company that makes them a millionaire. Same event. Completely different programming. And here's the secret that will change your life. You can reprogram your internal software starting today. But first we need to expose the invisible prison you built. Prepare yourself for this. By age 7, your subconscious mind had recorded over 1 million behavioral patterns. These patterns now control 95% of your adult decisions without you knowing it. Translation. A 6-year-old version of you is running your 30, 40 or 50-year-old life. Think about that. The part of you that reacts to criticism, programmed by a child. The part that feels unworthy of love, coded by someone who still believed in Santa Claus. The anxiety that appears when things feel uncertain, written by a mind that thought monsters lived under the bed. This is not your fault. But it is your responsibility. Here's what happened. Your young brain absorbed everything like a sponge. Every time your parents argued, every time someone ignored you, every time you felt unsafe. Your subconscious created a program to protect you from ever feeling that way again. The problem? These protection programs are now your prison programs. Real example. Maybe at age 5 you learned that being good meant staying quiet when adults were upset. Today, at 35, you can't speak up in meetings because that same program is running. You think it's just who you are, but it's actually ancient software protecting you from a danger that no longer exists. Here's the shocking part. You're not even aware these programs are running. They operate completely below your conscious mind. You feel the emotion, you react automatically, and then you create a story about why it was justified. But what if you could see the code? What if you could update it? What if you could become the programmer instead of the program? The first step is recognizing when you're in autopilot mode. Here's a 10-second exercise that will prove you have more power than you think. Next time you feel angry, instead of reacting immediately, take one breath and ask, why am I feeling this right now? That tiny pause. That microscopic gap between trigger and reaction is where your entire freedom lives. Most people have never experienced this space. They go trigger, reaction for their entire lives. They think they are their emotions instead of realizing they are the observer of their emotions. But you're not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the consciousness that observes both. Mind-blowing realization. Your brain produces 70,000 thoughts per day. If you are your thoughts, which of the 70,000 are you? The anxious ones, the confident ones, the random song lyrics that pop up while you're trying to sleep. Plot twist. You are none of them. You are the space in which they all appear. When you realize this, really realize this, everything changes. Suddenly that criticism from your boss doesn't destroy you because you're not identifying with the hurt feeling. You observe it, you understand it, and you choose how to respond. This is the difference between reactive people and responsive people. Reactive people are controlled by their emotions. Responsive people use emotions as information. Practical example. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Reactive response. Immediate rage, honking, road rage, ruined mood for the next hour. Responsive response. Notice the anger. Understand it's your ego feeling disrespected. Choose to let it pass. Arrive at your destination in peace. Same trigger. Completely different outcome. Like different software. But here's where it gets even more powerful. Warning. This next insight might make you uncomfortable. You're addicted to your own suffering. Not because you enjoy pain, but because suffering has become your identity. Think about it. How much of your conversations revolve around what's wrong? Your problems, your stress, your difficult people, your challenging circumstances. You've become so identified with your struggles that you wouldn't know who you are without them. This is the attachment trap. You attach to how people should behave, how situations should unfold, how you should feel, how life should be fair. And when reality doesn't match your attachments, you suffer. But here's the kicker. You defend your right to suffer. You argue for your limitations. You collect evidence for why you should be upset. Real talk. When someone tries to help you see things differently, what's your first response? But you don't understand. But my situation is different. But they really did hurt me. You're not wrong. But you're also not free. Here's what billionaires and monks figured out. Suffering is optional. Pain might be inevitable. Rejection, loss, disappointment happen to everyone. But suffering is the story you add to the pain. Pain says this hurts. Suffering says this hurts. It shouldn't be happening. It's unfair. Someone is to blame, and it means something terrible about me or my future. Same pain. One version is clean and temporary. The other version is a mental prison you can live in for decades. The secret to unbreakable peace. Learn to feel pain without adding suffering to it. But how do you actually do this? Here's the practice that changes everything. Step 1. The observer practice. For the next 7 days, become a scientist of your own mind. When you feel triggered, don't fix it or fight it. Just observe it. Ask yourself these questions. What am I feeling right now? Where do I feel this in my body? What story is my mind telling me about this situation? Important. Don't judge what you find. Just notice. You're gathering data about your own patterns. Step 2. The truth investigation. Question every story your mind tells you. When you think they don't respect me, or I'm not good enough, or this is terrible, pause and ask. Is this thought absolutely true? Can I be 100% certain this is accurate? How do I feel when I believe this thought? Who would I be without this thought? Revolutionary insight. Most of your suffering comes from believing thoughts that aren't even true. Step 3. The presence anchor. When your mind spirals into past regrets or future worries, anchor yourself in this moment by asking, what is actually happening right now? Am I safe in this moment? What do I have in this moment? Truth bomb. 99% of your suffering happens in your imagination about past or future events. In the present moment, you're almost always safe and have everything you need. Step 4. The acceptance revolution. Stop fighting what is. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up. It means stopping the exhausting internal war against reality and redirecting that energy toward what you can actually influence. Accept that people will sometimes disappoint you. Plans will sometimes fail. Life will be uncertain. You will feel difficult emotions, and then focus your energy on how you interpret events, how you respond to challenges, what you choose to believe about yourself, how you treat others regardless of how they treat you. This is where the real transformation happens. Here's what happens when you master these practices. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the author of your experience. A bad day becomes just a day with some challenging moments. Criticism becomes feedback or someone else's opinion. Rejection becomes redirection. Failure becomes data. You become anti-fragile. Not just resilient, anti-fragile. Challenges make you stronger instead of wearing you down. Real example. Someone spreads rumors about you at work. Old you. Devastated, anxious, plotting revenge, losing sleep. Knew you. Curious about why this triggered you, using it as an opportunity to practice non-attachment, focusing on your own integrity regardless of others' opinions. The difference is freedom. You're no longer controlled by external events because your peace comes from internal mastery. But here's the most powerful part. This isn't just about feeling better. When you master your internal world, your external world begins to shift. You make better decisions because you're not reactive. You attract healthier relationships because you're not needy. You create more success because you're not paralyzed by fear of failure. You become magnetic instead of chaotic. People will notice something different about you. They'll ask what changed. And you'll realize you found something most people spend their entire lives searching for. True inner peace that no one can take away. But there's one final piece to this puzzle. Here's what separates people who understand this intellectually from people who transform their lives. Daily practice. Knowledge without application is just entertainment. You need to train your mind like you train your body. Consistently, intentionally, progressively. The 5-minute morning protocol. Minute 1 and 2. Set your intention. Ask, how do I want to show up today regardless of what happens? Minute 3. Practice gratitude. Name 3 things you appreciate about your life right now. Minute 4. Visualize yourself responding to challenges with calm confidence instead of reactive emotion. Minute 5. Commit to observing your thoughts and emotions throughout the day without being controlled by them. The evening review. 2 minutes. When did I react automatically today? When did I respond consciously? What can I learn from today's triggers? How can I grow from this? The weekly challenge. Each week, choose one trigger that typically controls you and practice responding differently. Maybe it's criticism, rejection, unexpected changes, or difficult people. Results timelined. Week 1. You'll notice your patterns more clearly. Week 2 to 4. You'll catch yourself in reactive moments sooner. Month 2 to 3. You'll respond consciously more often than you react automatically. Month 6 and beyond. Your baseline emotional state will be significantly calmer and more confident. The compound effect. Small daily practices create massive life changes over time. And now you know the secret. You know that every moment of suffering was self-inflicted by unconscious programming. You know that the prison you've lived in had no locks, only the illusion of them. You know that the power to be unbreakable was never hidden from you. You simply forgot how to access it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Knowing is not enough. Knowledge without action is just sophisticated ignorance. So here's your moment of truth. Will you bookmark this video and return to the comfortable lie that your peace depends on other people and circumstances? Will you go back to being a victim of your emotions, a prisoner of your unconscious programming, a slave to the chaos of an uncontrolled mind? Or will you make the choice that separates the free from the enslaved, the choice to become the master of your own inner world? Because here's what I know about you. You didn't watch this far by accident. Something in you is ready to break free. Something in you has always known there was another way to live. The question is not whether you can change. The question is whether you will. Tomorrow you will wake up. And when you do, you will face the same world, the same people, the same challenges. But now you have something you didn't have before. The knowledge that none of it has to control you. You can remain untouchable, unbreakable, free. The choice, as it always has been, is yours. If you're ready to take the first step, start the observer practice today. Notice your thoughts without being controlled by them. And if this video shifted something inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Because freedom is contagious. And the world needs more free people. What will you choose?